Good afternoon, Scott. How are you today?
Good. I'm good. Very good.
So, you've been talking a lot about mindset of late. So this is why I was interested in having this chat with you and going live on Facebook today. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us all about your business and all of your interests and experience to date.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right for noticing I've been posting a lot on social media about mindset, and obviously we're going to delve into more of the topic of what it is and how it affects us. So I'm Coach Scott, or Scott McCormick, for people that know me a little bit more personally. I run my own one-to-one PT business, as well as an online coaching business, as well as now an online boot camp business, which was once physical and will return back to a physical boot camp, and that's Birmingham's Fitness Boot Camp. Yeah, and it's kind of the whole coaching process from start to finish, whether that just be not just in the gym, not just on Zoom calls, not just like on FaceTime, but more about the mentality around diet, the mentality around daily rituals, daily habits, self-beliefs, and everything that goes into just not just exercise, but the whole mindset around it, and getting fit and eating right and setting yourself up for success in and outside of the gym every step of the way.
And
So I
as
help
this is,
people coach around that.
yeah. Sorry for interrupting you. And this is why I wanted you to be on today, because I know you've been flat out. You're a busy guy doing all this great stuff. So it sounds like you're pretty busy at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the turn of events, like we've just got to move with the times. Like we can't be stagnated, just going like, oh, this is us now, like throwing our hands up in the air. We've got to adapt and do what we can with what we can. So I'm just trying to daily get after it, like put out content that's going to help people endlessly around things that they can focus on, things that they can control, like mindset.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great job. I have to say, you are doing a great job with that. And the whole mindset shift of the 5 weeks or 6 weeks. I can't even remember how long we're in lockdown. It just seems to be the current norm, is where we are. I can't remember the life before. So what it's going to be like when we get out of a lockdown situation, but fair play to you. So you've mentioned it a number of times. Obviously, mindset is really important. This is why I want to talk to you today. So come on, tell me, why is mindset important to you?
I personally believe that mindset is the main driver to the end result. Like whether it be your kind of mindset around how you approach the day, like, and that can be dictated from like what you wear, mindset is obviously all around like what we think and the small actions and small steps that are dictated by our thoughts. So if we go after a day one of two ways, it's going to leave us with one of two results. And it's not just about that individual day, but the individual weeks, and when the weeks turn to months. And obviously everyone knows like you're not going to see a life change and transformation both inside and out in every aspect of your life and your training from just doing one thing once, but your mindset about consistency and that self-belief that if you really apply yourself to XYZ for XYZ amount of weeks, amount of months, like it's guaranteed, like you'll see the end result.
Cool, I love it. I want to touch on something you talked about there about what you wear. That's quite interesting. Now, my background as a business coach, mindset and my understanding of mindset has really grown in the 4 years that the Nova Growth has been around. And from me discounting it over the years to knowing how absolutely what a game changer it is, I am still learning about mindset every single day. So you talked about clothes you wear. Do you want to touch on that a bit more? That'd be interesting to know about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, to give a bit of further background, I've also been in we're going back a few years, but like estate agency, recruitment, and like other various office jobs. But people will be able to relate to this as well. The difference between wearing your PJs at home and getting ready in a suit, tie, shirt, like, or it might be like blouse, like smart office wear. Obviously, I'm not saying to everyone, put on your smartest office wear and go make your bowl of cereal and you're in lockdown, but dressing for success, dressing for productivity is going to put yourself into a place of action. Like it's probably one of the most underrated things. And I'm coaching people daily, like one-to-one clients that are moved over to online coaching with me. I'm like, okay, well, if you're dressing a certain way, you're going to feel a certain way. So if you're in your PJs watching this and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like, set yourself up for success. So start your day, get dressed into productive clothes that you would often go to work in, or I mean, if it is comfy, if it's workout clothes, and you're starting the day with a workout, so be it. But the point is, not your PJs. They're made for sleeping. They're made for relaxing. Let's
Fair
get up,
play.
get productive.
I wasn't sure which way you were going to go with that, because there's always the other mindset about people, high achieving people, individuals out there who always wear the same clothes as well. And these people, like the guy, the Apple guy who always had the polo shirt, the roll necks,
Yeah.
the same trousers. I think the Facebook guys, Zach and say, all these high achievers out there who wear the same clothes every day because it's one less thing to think about. So they've got that routine going. It's just one less thing. That's what motivates them. That's what helps them, their mindset to continue, and they keep going. Okay, love it. Great answer. So what difference does mindset make from your experience as being a PT, a one-to-one coach, online coach? What is it that you see the differences in mindset and having a positive mindset?
It's largely the belief system that people, I think, possess within themselves. So if they're like, if you're gonna exercise, if you're gonna look after your diet, if you're gonna supplement and look after your nutrition, your sleep, and everything, the thoughts that you adapt within that process are gonna affect your end result, like 100%. You can either go through the motions, like, let's say, like weightlifting or muscle building as just one single example. You can either go through the motions and move a weight from A to B, or you can actually actively think about how you're doing it, what effect it's having, like the squeeze, that there's actually something like a mind-muscle connection. And if you take all of that on board and really internalize it, like, the results have been proven 8% increase. Like, that's from a scientific study. Like, you can't you can't argue that. But going back to the question a bit more, like the mindset around kind of, if you have a mindset of saying, this diet is going to work, I'm going to stick to it, and here's my meals, here's prepped out, here's what I'm going to consistently do, and I'm going to 100% see results from consistently doing it, the chance of you picking at this or cheating here or having this, like, or even going into a surplus and regressing are going to be a lot smaller, because you've internalized that belief that this is going to work, like, there's no other way.
Cool. I like that. That's really good. So what steps, we've touched on this a few times, what steps can someone take to improve their mindset? If someone's struggling at the moment, in a lockdown we talked about already, and I'm seeing quite a few people out there, quite a high percentage of the population have got quite a poor mindset. So what steps can people take today, some simple actions they can take now that will improve their mindset?
Yeah.
You touched on the clothes. That's a great one.
Yeah, we did, Jeff. So routines, like, are going to set you up for success.
Okay.
Like, 100%. So get up. Instead of maybe just shuffling from bed to sofa or to kitchen or whatever you're doing, get up and get active. Like, set yourself. This is one thing that I've done for a long time. Get up, and it sounds so simple, but it was the tip was actually found from a YouTube graduation speech from like a high performing army exec, and he said, make your bed first thing in the morning. You've committed to just making your bed. Like, it's one thing that has required a little bit of discipline. It's something that you said you're going to do, that you're going to do, and it sets you up for the rest of the day. Then you could go for like a 5-10 minute walk. Like, it's actually enjoyable if you think about it. If anyone that doesn't enjoy fresh air, moving for 5-10 minutes, like, it's going to get your mind right. It's going to set you up for the rest of the day. And little further things, I mean, if neither of those things appeal to you, could be like, drink a glass of water, wake up, drink a glass of water. It's just one little thing that's going to contribute to better health, better brain function, and just a better day overall. It's those little routines, little steps, little things that you can put into place. Definitely. Like
Cool.
it could be a whole host of things, like setting your diary the night before, like what I'm going to do in the morning, going for a walk, stretching, yoga, breathing, meditating. Like there's such a long list.
What's really interesting about this is we've obviously got very different backgrounds, me from a business coaching point of view, from a PT, personal training point of view, but a lot of the stuff is absolutely the same. So like you mentioned then, setting a diary, setting your to-do list for the next day. I always say to business owners, it's the best thing you can do as you're finishing your day is plan out what you're going to be doing for tomorrow, what's the most important things you need to achieve. That way it's out of your mind, you can relax and not just keep stressing about it. Morning routines are amazing, and the one thing I've learned over the years is having that morning routine. I in previous lives had awful sleep patterns and would sleep 3 or 4 hours a night for years and years at a time. But actually having 6 or 7 hours is an absolute game changer on brain function and the performance how you're gonna perform in the day. Having a standard, it sounds really boring, and I get mocked for this all the time on my kids. But having a standard going to bedtime and rising time, I'm one of the sad people now who doesn't need an alarm clock. I'm awake at whatever time I need to be awake for because I'm refreshed and ready to go. I know I'm old. Drinking water, amazing. It's a firm belief for me to have that glass of water first thing you've opened your eyes, knock back that glass of water, and your body, the science much more than me. I feel better. That's what I care about. Exercise. Having that 10, 15, 20-minute, half an hour exercise, just walking the dog, just doing something to raise your heart rate will set you up for the day. Meditation. Now, I poo-pooed meditation forever more until a few years ago, and a good pal of mine, I hope it's watching, but I can't see, talking about hypnosis, and Steve Wood's hypnotist would talk about it. And when you start to drill down to what hypnosis was, it's meditation. I thought, I want to do that anyway. So even if you can do 10 minutes a day on meditation, it's amazing. I'm a fan of Calm. I use Calm all the time. It's a great app. I think it's $30, $40 a year, and it's just amazing. And then education. If you can tax your brain, you've exercised, you've got that water inside you, you've raised your heart level, you're so calm by meditating. If you can do some education, maybe you read a book or a podcast just for 10 minutes, do you know what? It's amazing. And the difference you do over 30 days of a month, that's a heck of a lot of time you've spent developing your brain. And you know what? You might learn something new as well at the same time.
Yeah, there's so much of this out there that pushes it, and it's easy to just say, and you might be watching this video or live and thinking no, that's not for me. But if you just tried it just for a couple of days, just for a week turns into a fortnight, it is life changing.
I think you've got to try it for longer. I've always been told that if you habits are formed over 30 days, if you do something consistently for every day for 30 days, then you will form a habit. So don't try it for a day and think that's rubbish, you didn't make a difference. Try it every freaking day, put it in your diary, set an alarm, and do it for a month. And then at the end of the month, you might be getting into it. And if it's working for you, great, carry it on. If it's not, maybe try it a bit longer. But I think habits forming and that whole routine is something I talk about on an hourly basis at the moment, where people are really struggling being in a lockdown scenario. Maybe they've been furloughed from work and they haven't got as much money coming in, but actually the one thing you've got more of is time. But you need to have a routine, otherwise you will go mad. If you've got 4 walls, like you mentioned, you can be in the bathroom, the kitchen, the average person's house is not pretty big. You need to have some sort of routine and try and stick to a routine that you had prior to lockdown. So if you got up for work at 6 o'clock in the morning, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and do something with your time. Go online, read something, educate yourself, watch a YouTube video. There's so much content available today which is free of charge. So you can't complain that you can't afford to do it. We can all do stuff to benefit ourselves and educate ourselves just by
even a really good example of this.
Yeah, cool.
Is I was looking at previous people in history that have been in isolation, had to deal with things like this, and there's a guy called Scott Kelly. And he spent a year on a space station in space, in the most confined environment that you could have. And to keep himself sane, he would plan every hour of every day, what he wanted out of the hour, what he was going to do, X, Y, Z. Some of them would even take an instrument up there and learn it. Just going back to that education point that you said. And yeah, it does. It dictates how you're going to feel. It dictates your sanity.
So the one thing coming out from this conversation is you're obviously consuming loads of information. So where are you getting all your information from? Is it books, is it podcasts, is it videos you're watching? Where's all this content coming from?
All of the above. Yeah,
Okay.
I think you need to just open up that funnel of where you're getting it from. And also like find something that you enjoy. You know this yourself. Like if you're a podcast person, like combine it with your exercise. If you're like educating off YouTube, then watch some constructive videos that are going to make some notes on it. Like if it's books, then maybe before bed, like get it into your routine as well.
I love a good podcast, and I always talk about this. So I use Pocket Casts on smartphone because I think it's
Okay.
paid. I think it might be a couple of quid or a couple of dollars, whatever it costs. But actually, I quite like it because you can cut out all the advertising. So you can say this podcast always starts, and the first 30 seconds are going to sell something to me. I don't want that in. You can make it start 31 seconds. But
Oh,
also, what I
nice.
like, you can increase the speed. So I often listen to podcasts at 1.3 speed, so I can get through like an hour's podcast that bit quicker. And it just makes it you actually still take in the information, and you can consume so much more just making it slightly faster, and it's just there and it just goes in really well. I'm a firm believer. I listen to podcasts all day long. Amazing,
Yeah.
really cool. Okay, so I'll let you give a quick plug here. You've obviously got a new ebook out.
Mm.
Have a sip of coffee first. Tell us about your new ebook. What's your ebook about?
The ebook is fitness facts that are holding you back,
Okay.
and my guide to getting you back on track. So there's a lot of myths in the industry, whether it be for lack of scientific evidence and people just took it, or they've took little bits and kind of run with it kind of thing. So just crushing some of the common myths, some of the most believed myths, and then some of my personal favourites that I kind of, like to roll my eyes to a little bit. Then it's got a workout plan. It's got some nutritional guidance. So there's nothing worse than following a diet like that's just plain and just can't be stick to. And it's got the training plan as well to kind of stick to. Then I've also got, which ties into that nicely, is a free live boot camp that's online. Don't need any equipment, just a bit of space, good mindset, good approach to it. It's 10 a.m. every Saturday morning, and are we going to be able to? I'll try and throw the link in on this somehow.
What's the group called? Do you remember what the group's called, top of your head?
Scott Sutton Coldfield Health and Fitness Community Support. Although
It's quite
if
a
you don't
snappy
live in Sutton
title.
Coldfield, not a problem. It's basically an online one for everyone.
Yeah, so I can confirm it's Scott Sutton Coldfield Community Health and Fitness Support. It's a completely open group. As you've said already, you run a great boot camp every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock sharp. It's about 35 minutes long. You can burn through some calories on that just by taking action and getting involved. So for your ebook, how can people get that ebook off you?
They can either DM on Instagram, get in touch on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Scott McCormick, and I'm Coach Scott. Or they can go onto the website, which is www.coachscott.co.uk.
Cool.
Or email me, scott@coachscott.co.uk.
Okay,
So
good plug, I like that.
anyway,
Plenty of ways, and I'll share the links in this. I have got a horrible feeling we're not on Facebook Live at the moment, but I'm going to keep going because this is a great recording, so we'll keep talking anyway. So my next question was going to be about how people can learn more about you and what you do. I think you've narrowed that there you've pretty much nailed that on the head. Is there anything else you want to add to that? As I said at the beginning, you've got a heck of a lot going on, and the way you've pivoted the business with this whole lockdown scenario is amazing. So well done on that. Is there anything else you want to touch on that you're doing, or any plans you've got coming up for the future? If that put you on the spot too much?
It's a tricky one. I mean,
More books, more education, more online stuff is what I'd say from you, definitely, all day long.
More online stuff, more education. How do you mean?
Well, more ebooks, because we're talking about mindset today, and the ebook feels like it's absolutely bang on. I need a copy of the ebook, and I'll talk to you about that after, but it sounds like it's absolutely bang on content what we're talking about today. So it's how you can continue to support the community around where you are and what else you can provide, whatever value you can provide. But it feels like you're bang on the penny at the moment.
So, as well as the ebook, I run an email list that you can jump on. It's actually free. It comes with the ebook, and that's just tackling some of the further issues we've discussed on mindset, setting up daily rituals. Perception sometimes is a really good thing to have. Like 2 minds are always better than one, as the famous saying goes. So it'd be good to get that book and then jump on that list. And it's just little hacks that are going to help you along the way, like a little reminder here or there. So,
cool, brilliant. I'm conscious we've got a couple of people on this Zoom call with us as well. Has anyone got a question they want to add? Don't want to put you under pressure, but if you have, by all means, unmute yourself and turn your screen off. Turn your camera on, I probably meant to say then.
Will it come up on the? It'll come up on the chat one.
Yeah. Let me see what I can do.
Having said that, Instagram or Facebook, any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep looking as well at the same time. Kim, I don't know if you got a question, Kim, you wants to add. You're very welcome to. Don't want to throw you under the bus.
So, I'm just on Instagram at the same time. Going through some of the comments.
Okay.
Looks really positive. People saying sleep, drinking water, 30 minutes cardio, life changing. That's
cool.
Really good. Is spacing your food out during the day vital? You're right for me to answer the question. Go ahead with it, yeah?
Keep going. My dog's barking in the background, so I was muting myself very quickly.
So spacing out your food during the day. There needs to be this kind of mentality of like saving calories, like put to a side, and we do need to keep our metabolism like churning throughout the day. There's like, I could go on all day about this, but basically, if you imagine your metabolism like a burning fire, we just want to chuck on a little bit of coal at a time, one by one, and not completely just dump the whole load of calories, coal,
like
on the fire, putting it out, and
so space it out over the course of the day.
Yeah, just keep it ticking over. Like, keep one thing, hydration. Like, this is something that, going back, I probably used to, exactly.
I get mocked for it all day long.
And I haven't got coffee, it's water.
I'm drinking decaf the other one as well, so, I explain myself, it's fine.
It's like, it's a game changer. Just being hydrated alone is gonna, like, satisfy so many hunger cues. Because, like, the fact is out there and people hear it and go, hydration is what I'm really just thirsty, not hungry. It's not about being like, oh, I'm hungry, let me drink some water instead. No one wants to do that. Like, people would rather eat food. It's about originally being hydrated throughout the day that is going to actually probably reduce that hunger cue, or you might not even have that hunger cue whatsoever. So it's not about drinking a glass of water instead of eating food. It's about just being hydrated, like, consistently throughout the day.
Okay, so, like that.
I hope that kind of answers the two questions around, eating spaced out and drinking enough water as well.
Okay. Kim, do you have anything else you wanted to add? You should be able to mute yourself.
Hello, I do.
Perfect.
Yes, Kim, what are you saying? You're right.
I'm good, thank you. I think one of the things that you've taught me is to, with the fitness journey, is to fall in love with the process, and that's really, really helped me. But even so, I think one of the things that I struggle with is patience and keeping a positive mindset around each day, looking in the mirror and perhaps not seeing the changes quick enough, or not feeling that it's happening quick enough. And I just wondered whether you experienced that, and what you'd recommend of how to deal with that.
Yeah, it's going to be different for different people as well. I think that timescale changes. Like, so let's say there's someone listening to this and it's on like the fat loss side of things. So like, if it was someone losing weight and there's a mentality out there like quick is good, like instantaneous results. We've got the world at our fingertips. We've got information where we want it. We've got fast food, like a drive-through. Like, we've got everything everywhere as quick as we want. But like, fitness is a life-changing result, like, as you know. So anything that's going to be transformative in our life, like, what's the saying? Anything that's worth having is worth working for, and not just for the time being, not just for like over the course of an hour or a day, like, is life-changing. So, I mean, going back to the question though, is there anything? Can you remind me? Is there anything that you would say?
Yeah, how do you deal with that? I think when you sort of get up every day and you look in the mirror and you're perhaps not seeing the changes as quickly as you think you should be, kind of how do you frame your mindset around that, and how do you keep positive about that?
It's got to be understanding the ongoing process and tracking, like not just looking forward and saying what am I not seeing, but looking backward and saying what have I seen. So like measurements, great way of doing it. Before and after photos, another great way of doing it. Like recognizing what you've achieved so far and like how long that's taken, and then double that and let's take it forward. And what it's took to achieve that, double that, let's take it forward. Like let's look forward on like what we want and what we're going to achieve and like how good this is going to be and how far we can take it, but also like look backward and say, well, like I'm doing well so far, like I've achieved a lot. And you've done like an amazing review that I was like looking over on the video, which kind of goes over all that and how Kim's changed, like transformed her life, and like as you said, in the boardroom, in relationships, in friendships, like at work, everywhere and anywhere. So
yeah. If I can just chip in at that point, if I can just chip in then, Scott, you put some content out I saw over yesterday, the day before, about people who weigh themselves on a daily basis. So what I'm thinking you're coming from there is, how often would you recommend people weigh themselves or measure themselves or looking for those changes? Because if you're doing it on a daily basis, the point Kim is making from me is that it gets very frustrating very, very quickly. And people are looking for, you know, you're right, that the whole world now is instant. We want everything now, and people have got no patience to wait. So from your professional point of view, how often should you be weighing yourself? How often should you be measuring yourself?
I would say in centimeters, like if you're really going after it, really applying yourself, I'd say weekly. I'd say as far as like tape measurements, and then weight. It's going to depend on a few factors. So I would say weekly again on weight, but then it depends how much you're really putting yourself through this, like how often you're exercising. Because the more you put in, the more you get out. Like we all know that. So you don't want to get disheartened if you are doing it weekly and you're not seeing a big enough expectation. So maybe fortnightly is the way to go for you, especially the fact that women around kind of time of month and things like that, there's a certain route that the body takes through like high estrogen levels and low testosterone levels, and then following that, the week of actually coming off and all the rest, a spike in testosterone levels, water retention, glycogen, muscle glycogen. Like scales give us a good starting point. But yeah, I'd probably say fortnightly, because there's a lot of variables that come into stepping on a scale. And I would always go for measurements first and photos first as well. And the way your clothes fit and the way you feel. Like it's like so many other tools that we can use instead of just stepping onto a scale. Because obviously it's about how you feel. Like if you look $1 million but you don't feel it, then like we want what we want to put our focus on.
Spot on. It's always refreshing talking to you, Scott, about your passion for the industry as well. That comes out very enthusiastic about it, and you could talk about it all day. Anything else, Kim, to answer your question?
It does, yeah. I do have another question, but only if there's time.
It's all right. Yeah.
So I was just talking about the kind of tools that you use. What, like, when you perhaps have days where you feel not positive, or you feel a bit low, or you're demotivated, what is it you turn to? Is there particular people of you like that you find are heroes? Are there certain podcasts? Is there music that you turn to? Like, what do you use to kind of just make yourself feel better and get yourself going for the day?
Great question.
That's a good one. And that's a really good one. And it's going to be different for every single person, isn't it? I personally like, it really depends on what it is as well. I like certain bloggers, like find certain bloggers entertaining, just seeing like what they're doing with their life. And like, do you know what? If I've got to be honest,
name one.
You what?
Are you gonna name one? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, Matt Does Fitness. Why not? He's a good one. He's a good one to watch. But do you know what? If it's around like bringing it to like fitness and working out, like if I was to feel a bit of a lull in motivation with that, which I think might be where the question is like coming from as well, like those and this might be a bit too American for people, but like those motivational YouTube videos that talk about like achievement and where you put your focus and what can be achieved, and some are like the bodybuilding greats as well. Like they're top of the, you know, they're top draw for like where their mentality has come from. And like there's loads of stuff on this. I mean, just if you look at some films as well, like Jake Gyllenhaal in I think the film's called Stronger, where he suffers at the Boston Marathon and then he loses his legs and he has to learn how to walk, and then he goes off to achieve like great things. There's so many motivational cues out there that you can watch or read or like watch on YouTube and just be like not only does it put you in a sense of gratitude and being like, oh wow, like I'm lucky for what I have, like I can't really like squander it away, but also like just admiration. And then you want to be like those people. Like if you admire someone, it's more often than not because you admire their qualities, you admire what you want to be like that, and you want to take the steps towards do so.
I love it. It's great. What's your view on journaling? Do you ever think, have you done any research on journaling when people write down things they're thankful for in the mornings or last thing before they go to bed and then back in the morning? Because that could be something, everyone is so, it's very, very personal. Journaling has never worked for me. I tried it and it didn't work for me at all, but I still tell people to try it because it could be, if that's a little key change you need to make that makes a difference for you, then that motivates you, then by all means, you know, it's fine, whatever works for you.
Yeah, we need to find what works for every individual watching this is going to be like, well, I've tried this or I've tried that or I will try this, but like everyone is different, and that's like a big takeaway point. But coming back to the question, like journaling, there's a book called The Miracle Morning, and it focuses on writing 3 things you're grateful for and 3 things you wish to achieve. If you wake up and focus on 3 things you're grateful for, Tony Robbins does a speech on this as well. So gratitude and fear, like all the negative emotions you can think, fear, anxiety, depression, like a low of motivation, all of those things are antagonists to gratitude, like being thankful for, you know, what we already have, motivation, happiness. So if you put all your focus on just even one of those, it's going to completely diminish the effects of anything else, like, you know, all the negative ones listed.
Miracle Morning is a great book. I was just looking for my copy on the bookshelf there, but I can't. I've lent it. I've given it to someone who needs to have a look, get into that routine set. So I've given it away to someone. It's a great book. It's well worth reading. And again, not everything worked for me, but some of the things I still use today, the routine, 2 or 3 years later, it's just very, very good. It's game changing. Okay, lovely. Thanks for that, Kim. Appreciate that. So any final comments or tips for people watching this then, Scott?
There was a couple of questions on here I was just going to go to. I weigh myself every day, but I know at night daily variations. As long as the pattern is downward, I don't worry about 1 or 2 pound up. So just to briefly cover this again, fluctuations in your weight are going to happen depending on all the factors, whether they be glycogen, muscle glycogen, liver glycogen, water retention around being like time of the month, XYZ. So don't focus on the end of, don't focus on the small fluctuations, and more about the gradient that it's going, definitely. What was another one? Having an underactive thyroid and therefore a slow user, I totally relate to losing motivation due to something not seeing quick enough. Oh, just saying, definitely taking some of this advice on board. Brilliant, cool. Does it older people take longer to transform? I think that means, does it take I think that's a bit of a myth personally, about like, oh, I'm older, so I'm putting on weight here, or like, oh, I'm older, so this, that, and the other. The fact is just, I think we just get lazier as we just get older. Like if you look at kids, like they sprint everywhere. Like, oh, we're going to the car, run. We're going to the park, run. Like everywhere is a sprint. So I think like as we get older, we just get a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, you know, set in our ways, and more focused on being comfortable and, you know, all the things that go with that. So I don't personally think age has. Obviously, I can't speak from experience on that front, first-hand experience anyway.
I mean,
Well,
can you just confirm that wasn't for me, that question as well? Genuinely wasn't for me. Seriously, whatever people believe, it wasn't me.
I was the person. No. Apart from that, I think is spacing your food out vital. Sometimes I have to eat 2 meals within 1 hour to suit my schedule. Spacing your food out, but yeah, I would try to space it out as best as you can. Try and get in a pattern of eating every 3 hours, so you're managing those ghrelin cues. So ghrelin's a hormone that regulates hunger. So if you can teach your body to manage that pattern, might be eating at set schedules, then so be it. If work's an issue, then it's going to be a challenge. You can try and refer to quicker, easier things that are going to be on hand, like little healthy snacks, fruit, supplement shakes. Like, they are a supplement. They're there like to have as a quick go. If you can't get real food in, you can always supplement with said supplement. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. I know work's always a tricky one with schedules and stuff. Like, if you can't get to a fridge and microwave, like, you've just got to work with what you got. And if that's fruit on the go, then it's fruit on the go. It's still managing that ghrelin level.
Absolutely. Any other questions you got in your list? Anything else come through?
No, but we've had a really good response. Really good to see.
Wicked. I'm dying to see if it's been on Facebook as well, but it's all recorded, so we can do lots of good stuff with this anyway. Yeah. So I think it's been very, very useful. I think it's an interesting topic, and we can obviously talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but not to take up too much of people's time. Obviously, mindset is critically important right now, but then it's important normal times. So obviously, the bar is raised more so while we're in lockdown. Anything else you want to add to this that you haven't touched on already, or any final comments you want to make?
No, just to remind people, if they do want that free ebook, just message me directly or email scott@coachscott.co.uk. I am running daily boot camps from my Birmingham's Fitness Bootcamp group. So if you want details on that, get in touch. Apart from that, it's all good.
Great. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me today for this. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I think that'd be really beneficial for people.
Cool. Brilliant. It's been a good laugh.